record in this category. I've decided to not do the intro, or not record it, because by now we all know what happens in the intro. The raw recording will be uploaded to YouTube, obviously, so you will be able to see the whole thing if you want. But you know, that just saves 40 minutes of our time to skip that monstrosity. The only important thing that happened in the beginning was bad RNG. Bad encounters through to Saturos and Menardi. The only reason I kept the run was because I liked my menuing. Anyway, so that's why we lost a lot of time on the prologue, and then everything else was just kind of half the course of Soul Sanctum. Bad things happened. And so yeah, we come out of Vale about 16 seconds behind. So given I did a pretty comprehensive commentary of this category a while ago, I want to focus more on improvements, optimizations, and ideas and stuff that we can use in the future, and obviously commentating along as we go. So that's kind of the intent here. Obviously, anybody in chat, if you have questions, you're always welcome to answer them. So the big changes between what's happened between this stream and the previous stream that I did was I actually got another record in between in that. So I got a 405 a while ago, and that was the one that I streamed. That was actually pretty cool. I liked that run. It was kind of hilarious. All kinds of random shit happened, and somehow I survived where I shouldn't have. I think I got another record this 400 time, and well, that was a pretty bad run. Like I liked nothing about it, to the point where including one of the big mistakes that was in it was actually saying yes in Colosso. So that was just shit. It will exist on YouTube as well, but it's total trash, so don't watch it. This run is not that run. This is a much better run, although it's not perfect. Hey, anyway, how you doing, man? Yeah, commentating and recording. I'm finding it so much easier to do a ton of runs, or just find time to do runs offline, and then stream them when they or when they finish. Actually, this run I was going to stream yesterday. I actually attempted to stream it. You'll notice in the speedrunning Discord there was like a Plexi went live notification, and Twitch just was not having any of it. The upload was just not holding, and I was dropping frames, like 80% of frames and stuff. Hadn't changed any settings or anything like that, so it was not to be. So I wanted to do a run anyway, so I just did one offline. It appears that things are holding. So bandits are quite interesting. Like, I've been thinking, like, is there a way that we can either do this fight safer or do it faster? And it all comes back to investing time in Soul Sanctum to make that happen. The problem is the bandit fight is so short that unless you RNG a oil drop from one of the mobs there, there's basically no reason to even bother with that. I actually went away and did some calculations on how long it would take you to get level 2 in Soul Sanctum, and it doesn't make any sense at all. You have to kill 24 monsters before you can get to level 2, and that's obviously far too slow for a category like this. So unfortunately, there's no real way to speed up the bandits. We have to do them the normal way. And just hope they don't herb to death. Is the volume balance okay anyway? I wasn't sure. Oh, thanks for that anyway. Bandit Chase. Bandit Chase is always annoying. This category, there's not really any way you can get around it though. Too much randomness. I would like to devise a way that you could get around the brown thief. Is the stream lagging a bit? No, I am dropping frames. Let me lower the quality a little bit. And we'll just keep an eye on that as the stream develops. So yeah, that brown thief, he often gets in the way, and it'd be really useful to devise a strat where you can get around him. Because the brown thief is like half as fast as the purple thief, so ideally you want to trap the purple thief. But at the moment we just don't have any plans or strategies at all. We just have to YOLO, basically. It's not great. Okay, bandits. Not a lot to say other than herbs still suck. I mean, there are ideas that you can do. You can like maybe throw a sleep bomb in there. There is a sleep bomb you can grab in vault, but you know the sleep bomb's not even guaranteed. And even if it were guaranteed to hit, you're usually only getting like 1 or 2 turns of sleep out of it. And in particular, because you're probably not sleeping with Ivan, the thief's only gonna miss 1 turn instead of 2, so it's kind of not worth it. So just a bit of run in and pray and hope for the best here. So good start. Anytime you get smoke bomb turn 1, you're a pretty happy person. You really don't want to see that bandit use slice. So now the herbs start. Like we never want to see herbs in this fight, but you know they love doing it. Slice is not good, obviously. Slice is the most damaging ability the middle thief has. Double slice into someone can be really painful. Fortunately, I guess he's not using slice or trying to double into someone with slice, and instead he's just mass healing. Really slows down the fight. So all the stuff here right now is a huge area of possible time save in the future. Nope. Hey Dovichin, how you doing? Yeah, so there's a good 20-30 seconds to save on that first split, purely because of Bandit RNG. But I mean, that's this category, right? Like, the category is always going to be throwing crap at you and you just have to deal with it. Like, that's one thing that you just have to be okay with if you run this category, that sometimes the game is going to be cruel to you. But usually the game will give you a little leniency somewhere else later on. So you just gotta hang in there and hope for the best. So while the RNG to this point has been pretty trash, like you just have to hope that down the line you're gonna get some RNG that kind of makes up for it. Let's talk a little bit about these goal splits. So my goal in this category is to get sub 4. It's the only category in Golden Sun 1 that is above 4 hours, and I feel like this category deserves to go sub 4. So that was the plan going into this. The goal splits were basically generated by taking my best split times and then adding a certain amount of time depending on the variance associated with that split. So for the bandits, for instance, it's some of best split time plus 30 seconds because there's enough stuff to go wrong that you add in 30 seconds. You do that for all of the splits, and then you go, well, what's the end time? When I first did it, it came out at about 4:02, and obviously getting sub 4, I want to do better than that. So then you look at some splits and you go, well, how can I save time here in a reasonable kind of way? So did that all over the place, and that gives you this 3:59 time. I'm really enjoying having goal splits these days. I think it's quite useful to know how to save time, or like where you're saving time and stuff, and not like in a sum of best kind of, oh my god, the split was amazing segment, but just hey, this is a pretty reasonable time save that not a lot of things have to go right for you to get, just it exists, so you should hope to get it. And no worries, Wyrain, how are you doing? Good to see you. I should also point out that if anybody wants to run this category, the notes are on speedrun.com now. So, not that my notes are any good for anybody but me, but you know, they exist, just in the off chance somebody wants to use them. I think Bowie might use them in Camelot Month. That'd be pretty cool. Like anybody, I love people doing anything Golden Sun related. Like, if people are playing Golden Sun, then that just means that we're more likely to find stuff that we haven't seen before, like instant ladder climb, which, you know, was literally found in the past month. But yeah. So, immediately after this cutscene, there's a little bit of delay before you can move again, and in Save and Quit, it's really annoying because you're trying to mash start to open the button to save, open the menu, sorry, to save the game, and if you mash it too fast, then you open and close the menu and you waste time. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about that in this category, we can just hold left. So grab this Water of Life. Water of Life is actually really useful. We're going to use it to buy some weapons in Bilibin. So best RNG coming out of Bilibin, coming out of Vault, sorry, is one encounter to the cave and instant flee. And we get that, so that's pretty nice. Classic missing move. This game has some really strange hitboxes. Like, it's consistent like 99% of the time, but there's that 1% of time where the strangest things happen. Like, there's the Douse Frost puzzle in Tunnel Ruins, and I've had it so that you cast Douse, and Douse connects, but then you cast Frost, and then Frost misses from exactly the same position. It's totally bizarre. But that's Golden Sun. Alright, coming into Goma Cave, the most important thing is knowing what encounters you can run from, which ones you can't. Statistically speaking, it's only 40% likely to run from skeletons, willheads, and ghosts. Everything else, you have 50+% to run from. So the general strategy is you want to run from the things you can run from, and then fight the skeletons, the willheads, and the ghosts. It just kind of optimizes the kind of fight times and things like that. Because pretty much anything you can one turn with Ray Attack or Ray Flare. Or Ray Venus if you're so inclined, but Venus is slow. Yeah, menus are difficult. Alright, Goma Cave. Alright, so this is a mob I should really fight, but I've already fleed once, and every time you fail a flee, it adds 20% to the chance that you run. So flee fail, and that mob would give me now 60% chance to run. So 60% chance to run is statistically, you know, you're probably going to run, so it's worth running from in that case. So even though that was the wrong decision, I should have fought them. Because I initially made the wrong decision, it was better just to hard commit. So as I mentioned, Will Heads, you can't run from them, they're too high level, so you've got to fight them. That zombie encounter I flee from, those guys are only like level 2 I think, so you actually have really good odds to run from them. So there's two things that we're looking for in Goma Cave. The first thing is we're looking for experience, because experience is obviously really important. We want to get to level 4 after we defeat Forge. The second thing is we actually want money. We needed a little bit of cash so that we can buy armor in Bilibin. I have enough contingency money, but it's obviously preferable to get the it from encounters. And so far I'm getting bad encounter luck. I'm not getting the money that I need. I need like 11 coins at a time, like not really good enough. Other than getting caught by surprise by a bad encounter, the only other thing in this place that's scary is Forge. If Forge decides he wants to use a blast on you, then you're in for a bad time. Blast attack targeted on Ivan will kill, or blast will pretty much kill anyone. So anything but blast and you're a happy person. So because they attacked Garrett, this fight should be free now, because blast will not kill Ivan. He'll get low, but he won't die. So yeah, we're all good. And Flare, so Flare is fine. So standard, like, any category fight really. In fact, I don't even know if Garrett's attack there is actually, strictly speaking, necessary. I need to look into that. I know it's necessary in other categories, but I think because you have a little bit more attack power, you can actually avoid doing the attack with Garrett, I think. So best scenario here is no encounter after Forge, but I actually want to see an encounter because I need money. And I don't get one, so okay, whatever. There's no encounters in this room, so that's why I said there's no more encounters. Like, there's just no encounters coded for the room. It's actually a part of Veil, so fun fact. So now we're getting on a bit of a shopping trip. We need to buy armor, and we need to buy weapons for Isaac and Garrett. So we're buying all this armor here because Saturos is a dick. Pretty much everything that we do in this first phase of the game is just preparation for Saturos, because Saturos is so strong. But once we stock up with armor and stuff, Saturos is significantly more manageable, and we're gonna get Granite, and getting Granite's obviously gonna make the fight a lot more manageable as well, since it takes a lot of power out of his AoE abilities. Yeah. So I need $2,000 here to buy the weapons that I need. I probably didn't need to sell the game tickets. I probably could have just gone and sold the short swords and stuff, but you know, split-second decisions and all that. So we buy the 2 broadswords here instead of getting the Elven Rapier in Bilibin Cave. It's a little bit more optimal to do it that way. Saves a little bit of time. And in this category, you don't actually care about the weapon unleashes at all. In fact, they usually waste time. So getting weapons that don't have unleashes are not so bad. They're pretty good. But generally, we're not going to be attacking anyway. But you know, on the off chance that we are attacking, it's good to have it. Pick up Gust, as we always do. Can't retreat out of here, by the way. You have to run back. Kind of annoying. Like, I really feel like that particular area, the Gust dungeon area, is a place where we should be able to find a faster way to get Gust, but there's really nothing, despite quite a few things being found that make it somewhat applicable. Alright, so again, best case scenario is no encounters to Kolima, because we gotta go get Granite, and so that's pretty good. No encounters to Golden Barricade, we'll take that any day of the week. And then hopefully we get the same again to Kolima Forest. just kind of trying to run against the water here. Sometimes there's a bit of encounter tiles missing near water, so it can be advantageous to try and run against water when you have the opportunity. Alright, so we come to the Kolima forest first, because if you go to Kolima, the town, Ivan goes and mind reads a tree person, you get like 30 to 40 seconds of extra cutscenes, so yeah, you don't want to do that if you can avoid it. It's also quite nice because when you do this without Mia, it's actually a little bit shorter. Mia has some additional dialogue here. It takes about 17 seconds to get through or something. So we'll take the time save. No reason why we wouldn't. So coming up, we're going to go get Granite, and we have to go through a little underground passage in Kolima. The underground passage is actually kind of dumb. You can get encounters there, which isn't so dumb, but because it's a town, despite being able to get encounters there, the place is considered a town, which means that you don't recover synergy and you don't recover Jin in there. So if you summon something in there, you don't get the Jin back until you get into a fight and recover through the fight. So that's really annoying. The other annoying thing is that once you pop out and grab Granite, you'd expect that the step counter to reset because you've exited the dungeon. Actually, no, the step counter stays with you, so you're kind of stuck. You're basically guaranteed to get like 2 or 3 encounters on the way to get Granite because of that, which is really annoying. But again, there's not really anything you can do about it. Getting Granite is by far and away the most pragmatic way of approaching this category. I guess that is to say that there's probably an argument to drop Granite in the future. You can do a bit of rerouting and do Saturos without Granite. It's possible. Arcano is certainly a fan of that. But in my opinion, I don't see why you'd do that. You basically inject a ton of risk into the run. Like, the encounters in Building Cave and on the way to Immel are really strong. They'll take like 2 or 3 turns, like 2 turns to beat usually, or a very long 1 turn because you're Ray summon or something like that. Not fun at all. By picking up Ramses, we can use Ramses to clear those mobs, so that makes it a little bit safer. Mercury Lighthouse in particular is extremely dangerous, and while you have Kirin for Mercury Lighthouse, I really feel like you should. I feel like going in there with Granite, Ramses is so much safer. Plus, it makes Sleet a 1-turn fight instead of a 2-turn, and Sleet is extremely dangerous. Like, 1-hit KO dangerous. So, yeah, Granite makes a lot of sense, and definitely worth grabbing, I think. So we made up a lot of time there, but that time save's a little bit deceptive. We're now short of experience because the encounters that we got on Goma Cave were basically just 1 enemy encounters. So that means we're lower leveled, that means we're likely to get more encounters, that means it's going to be a slower grind up on the way to Fever. Not necessarily guaranteed, obviously, but yeah. Shoutouts to that rat for running away. So the Jin recovered because, yeah, shoutouts to that encounter rate. The Jin recovered because it was at the end of a battle, and they'd been on standby for at least 1 turn, so they recovered. This place is pretty shitty for encounter rates, so that wasn't too bad, all things considered, but you can definitely get better than that. Okay. It also feels like you should be able to run past Billow and Barricade, but again, we haven't been able to do that either. Same thing with Calais Docks, so you could get to ground earlier. If you don't get an encounter on the way to Bilibin, you can actually duck into Bilibin and do an encounter reset, which is faster. But we got an encounter, so whatever. We just have to roll the punches. Now at this point, there's no point taking the reset, so we just suck it up. So you can imagine actually going through all these fights with without Ramses, and just imagine how much longer they'll take. So I mean, every fight that you have to take on the way to Immil, you save time with Ramses. So even though there is a time investment to get Ramses, it's probably worth it. One small optimization that I realized like after I did this run was you should probably swap Flint and Granite around on Isaac and Garrett. Makes for some more optimal menuing later on. Now I probably took too many encounters in the overworld. I probably could have started to run from some, but whatever, not a huge deal. So trolls are really annoying. You really don't want to let them live because they can just what is it, brute force into someone and just kill them. Yeah, pretty much trolls are they're tanky and they're really dangerous. So you really don't want to see them if you can help it. Everything else, like the goblins, they deal a lot of damage, like these guys here, the ghouls, sorry. They deal a lot of damage, but, you know, you're faster than them, so just Ramses will clear them out, so they're not scary at all. Same with, like, maulers on the way to Emil. Like, maulers are obviously really scary if you can't kill them quickly. But because we have Ramses, like, none of that's a problem. It's just those trolls that come in that 3-person mob, and they just tank everything. Just using Jupiter here because a bit low on the old PP. So Isaac's at level 6, so we're back on experience route. Like, that's what you want to see. Ideally we're going into Saturos around level 7, level 8. Yeah, using Mars on these guys was a mistake, obviously. I totally spaced. Like, I genuinely thought they were weak to Mars. Should have just used Jupiter and I would have cleared them out, no problem. So there's some movement coming up here where you hug the corner as you go around. Helps minimize step counter and generation. Doesn't help when you're still getting counters anyway. Whatever. We try our best to minimize them. So like I mentioned, that time save on Granite was a little bit illusionary because of the extra stuff that we had to do to get back on track, but that's okay, not a big deal. This is still very much recoverable, even though quite behind at this point. And like I said, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. Like, I very much enjoy talking about Golden Sun and spreading the knowledge. It's pretty important to not forget the bottle on this room, actually. I think my 415 forgot the bottle because that was a bad run. So as I mentioned, Mercury Lighthouse is pretty dangerous. Everything wants to kill you. And there's not a lot you can do about it if they decide to. What we really don't want to see, we don't want to see things like Triple Siren. Or even the Banshees or Harridans or whatever they're called. They're pretty scary because they outspeed people. That makes things a little bit tricky. And then of course there's Sleet, but Sleet should be fine. There is a one-turn strategy. It's not particularly difficult, but it's pretty precise in that if you do anything else, it doesn't die, because Sleet's tanky. So as long as you do the fight properly, it's not a problem. You're definitely more worried about the random Mercury encounters at this point. This Lizard Fighter, you can actually outspeed him with Isaac and Ivan, so you just double summon him, he dies. You'll notice that becomes a theme later on. We can just like summon things before they get in action, and that just makes everything a lot easier. So do some suboptimal movement in this next room, and that just recovers an extra gen right before you go through the door. Yeah, so I used up one extra move there, which is kind of bad. We're about to do a retreat warp in Mercury, and you want to have as much PP as you possibly can for that, because after that we have to go to Sleet's room, then we have to use retreat. So ideally you're doing the retreat warp with 4 or 5 PP, and I used that extra move, which took me down to 3. So if I invested another move, that would have been 1, and that would have been really, really bad. But this is fine. It's going to allow us to do the retreat after Sleet as we needed to. So yeah, pretty much any encounter here is scary. Single Siren is one of the better ones because high experience, high coinage, but not too dangerous, seeing as they go down pretty easily. There's also the chance of the crystal powder drop, which we didn't get, but that's okay. So this is a pretty scary fight because the Lizard Fighter is really tanky, and the Banshee, what is it? Harpy, there we go. The Harpy is actually really fast, so Shriek can stun people, so let's say they shriek Isaac, then we get stunned, and that's not good. Miscalculated the damage, Lizard Man gets an attack off, that's not good. Actually not so bad, because we needed to get a gen recovery anyway, so it's actually just saved us a little bit of time with gen recovery. So the important thing here is that I need to set Gust, and I forgot to set Gust. Yeah, I've seen no experience Saturos. I mean, he's not the first person to do no experience strats. So I've seen that before. Oh, I've seen that kind of thing before, I should say. Hey, Westeros. Yep, another one. No, I've been playing a lot of No Save Quit lately. Really interested in trying to get a sub 4. So yeah, because I fucked up, I could have died there. So thankfully I didn't die. Based Sleet for being nice to me. Yeah. I don't know, my kind of thoughts on the no experience things are they're nice. It's a nice, cute thing. But when you remove the challenge of like the time factor to it, it just becomes like a grind fest, right? Like, not grind as in grinding for experience, but grind as in grind down the fight until it actually works. Get everything that's possibly available for you at that point, and then just go into it. And plus, you get Mia at level 10. It makes it like way more accessible than say a 0 experience Saturos. So Saturos fight's actually really safe in this route because we basically do all our preparation in the early game specifically for Saturos. We pick up all those extra herbs. I got an extra herb. I didn't need it from Kolima, but I like getting it. Get all those herbs, and we get the gin, we get granite, we get armor, and it's all just to make this fight safe and consistent. So Saturos works on a pattern. He has 8 possible attacks on turn 1. A couple of them you can't distinguish between, so attack in particular is problematic. Attack can either be followed by Heat Flash, Eruption, or Fireball. So if you see attack turn 1, what you need to do is you have to basically play around the assumption that he's going to use Eruption, because Eruption will kill people if you don't have a defensive Gin up or aren't defending. There's also Heat Flash, because he has 2 Heat Flashes in his cycle. It's hard to know, it takes 2 turns before you can figure out where he is in that cycle either. Same with Fireball. Fireball is 2 Fireballs. So the most dangerous one is attack, obviously. Because you could be hit with an Eruption the very next turn, and there's nothing you can do about it. But everything else, you have to play with enough caution to play around all the different possibilities that attack could lead into. Well, that said, it's not so hard. If you go grab the notes from speedrun.com, you'll see actually all 8 possible starting actions mapped out. Because you know he'll use Fireball on particular turns, you know when to use Granite, how to heal, things like that. Whether you're in the damage range to kill after certain things and all that kind of jazz. Pretty much only Saturos and Manticore you can do that on because they're the only pattern-based bosses in the game. Right, always open with Granite. That allows me to get up in the raid really early on, so that's valuable because it just ups the damage of Prism. And with Granite, even if you get hit with Eruption, you're okay. And look at that, turn 1 Eruption. Classic Saturos. Anyway, turn 1 Eruption is actually really good. It's one of the faster fights if you don't chicken out. Healing with Isaac here is me chickening out, by the way. If you play more aggressively, you can actually do Spire and play around trying to kill him quickly. So at this point, it's pretty straightforward. We just need to make sure we're keeping up the healing with Ivan, keeping up the damage with Mia, healing when we need to with Mia, and cycling Jin with everybody else. The amount of armor that we have basically renders Saturos' physical attacks useless, and Fireball will more or less be mitigated by Granite. So every time we get an raid into Saturos, it does 170 odd damage, which is really, really nice. So I think this fight we're getting 3 narrates. I think it's about the same in all the other categories as well. So probably I did this wrong here. I probably should have prismed with Mia and healed with Isaac, but it's okay. Not a big deal either way. Those Ramses really help out, by the way. They're like 130 odd damage a piece every time you use them. And in a category which can't guarantee crystal powders, like, they just make up that extra little bit of damage to make everything work. Now, if I'd played this fight more aggressively, by doing Spire and stuff, and Prism with Mia more often, you can actually kill Saturos on this turn with Venus Nereid, but because I did wussy strats, it's going to take me an extra turn to kill Saturos. So you gotta be safe, heal up a little bit. And then Ramses Nereid will finish it. It's a pretty nice time save on this segment. Mostly due to good encounters in the Lighthouse and Saturos being pretty nice. Although I could have saved way more time if I'd actually played more aggressively like I should have. Great time for any questions about Saturos, seeing as we got another cutscene or what's coming next or anything like that. Maybe you all heard me give my spiel about this all too often and there are no more questions. Who knows? I guess it's a little bit of trivia. Shout out to the FX for this piece of trivia. We're gonna go get we're gonna go fill up the bottle with Mercury Hermes water thingy. You can actually interact with the fountain from 1 unit away to the left. If you are frame perfect. When Isaac's swiveling around, there's basically, how many different animations? There's 8 different ways Isaac looks as a character. So there's left, there's upright, up left, down, down right. So 8 of them. And each one of those directions has, I believe, 2 associated values in the game that tells the game what direction you're looking. So if you're holding right, for instance, and you tap up for 1 frame, that'll increment the value, but Isaac's character won't actually swivel, but you are actually looking up, I guess upright at that point. So that's the thing that happens when you're kind of like looking right, but with that 1 unit of value incremented, allows you to cast move in like a diagonal way, that kind of stuff. Anyway, you can do that on the fountain, where you can like increment this particular directional value 1 by 1 while keeping Isaac facing right. That allows you to interact with the fountain from a distance. Now, we actually tried this in other places, and it works in other places, so it'd be quite interesting if that actually results in anything useful. But to our knowledge, there's no real application of that other than TAS frame saves. So yeah, fun fact, shout out to the FX for doing the research on that. So how's everybody doing on this fine Sunday? First Sunday of February, can you believe it? It's already 2019, where have the years gone? I've been doing this for almost 6 years now. How crazy is that? Hey Hell Clan. How are you doing today, man? You can actually instant ladder climb off of that ladder, or instant ladder drop, I should say. But being a frame perfect trick, you kind of don't want to do that. Yeah, the Hermes water. Now, I'm not actually sure whether in and out ML is good, but I think it is good. I think it guarantees 2 encounters rather than opening the possibility of 3. Getting ready to shovel some snow? Wow, yeah, that's right. It's very cold on the other side of the world. We've been having heat waves and stuff. not pleasant. Oh well. Weather's all been a bit extreme lately. So we actually can't avoid in this segment yet. If we were level 9, I think we'd be able to, but we're not even close at this point. So we can't use avoid until we get out of Goma Cave, and then we can just avoid until, I think it's like the 3rd room of Tret. Yeah, that sounds right. So same strategies for these encounters, even though we have Mia. We just want to use the summon, use some synergy, that's about it. So usually, in say 100% or with Save and Quit or something, you're looking for about 4 encounters from Emil to Bilibin. So that was our 4th encounter, so any encounter after that is bad luck. Look at that, right on the exit, because this game... Running here is not advised, but whatever. Right, avoid time. So this is a very chill part of the run where we just put avoid on and don't worry about anything. Somewhat more tolerable than the Save and Quit categories, because we've already done Tret, so we've gotten him out of the way. And by that I mean we've done the cutscene, we don't have to endure the oh no, everybody's a tree cutscene. We are going to make a quick detour on the world map. I'm going to pick up an item. If you haven't seen this category before, this is really, or if you haven't seen this category in a while I should say, this is a new advancement. I'm really glad I was able to route it in. Shoutouts to that random block there on the world map. So yeah, we actually get the turtle boots. The turtle boots are coming really handy on the in-game fights. It's going to allow Mia to strategically act, basically. She's always going to be acting last on any given turn. That's going to ensure that we can do things like use Mercury Djinn before she summons Boreas, or use Wish after everybody's acted on a Granite turn. All those kinds of things just kind of add up to making the turtle boots well worth the, what is it, 16 to 13 second investment or something? Not to mention the improved safety when reviving. So yeah, very, very much worth the investment, that one. Like, as memey as they are, like I very much struggle to believe that anyone will stop getting them. Mostly because of the revive thing, where the issue is with the Saturos and Menardi fight that if you have to revive someone and you've used the shielding Djinn, then they won't be offered the protection of that shielding Djinn because they were revived after the shielding Djinn took effect. So if you are able to revive with the last person, with the person who's acting last on any given turn, then you'll always be able to avoid Saturos and Menardi like re-killing them or something, or like attacking them through the lack of protective Djinn. So it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, a lot of sense. 13 seconds. Yeah, long story short, let's just get the turtle boots. Alright, Tret. First two rooms here, this one and the next one, no encounters because we have a void off. But after that we can get encounters, so now we're just hoping we don't. These encounters are pretty weak. I think we're at 60-65% run chance. So if we do get an encounter, we're just going to try and run. So we got one, it's fine, we'll just run. We do want to use one more avoid, so I'll explain why when we get to it, but now we're going to come up to Breeze. Now Breeze is pretty straightforward. If we just summon rush Breeze with the quote-unquote fast people, we should be able to kill Breeze. Now depending on your RNG level ups, it's possible that Isaac doesn't outspeed, but usually he does. And getting caught by surprise on Breeze is not the end of the world. You can see how dangerous he might be if you don't kill him really quickly. The real concern, however, is the Breeze running away. Because if Breeze runs away, then we're just really sad. So if you can do something like, you know, summon rush him to avoid that, then hey, you're gonna do that every time. Alright, no retreat warps in this category, so we have to go to Tret the normal way. I should have at that point used Avoid, but whatever. Alright, so the reason we want to use Avoid again is that after Tret we have to trek through the overworld, and Avoid will actually work in the overworld. So if we set up Avoid now, by the time we get there, Avoid will still be in effect, and that will allow us to not get any encounters until we cross the Kolima bridge. So it's just a little optimization I stumbled across one time when I did a run of this. So Tret may not seem like a really scary boss, but he actually is. You really don't want to see Sleep Star, because if people get put to sleep, he can just kind of endlessly sleep block you, and then the fight becomes very, very, very slow. So he may not have much threat of killing you, but he can certainly ruin a good run. So yeah. You don't really care what he does then, as long as it's not Sleep Star. And if he uses Sleep Star, you just hope it doesn't connect. Good strategy, I know, but I mean, it's not a particularly scary boss. I am also incapable of doing this fight correctly, but you know, whatever. So I used Karen with Mia here, and that's a total accident. My notes say to use Nerade, but using Karen here is actually not the end of the world, because Mia does nothing in this fight, because all her stuff is too weak. But it turns out that if you just do attack Plasma, that also kills Tret. And that's actually probably faster than what I have in my notes, so shoutouts to stumbling across strats on the run. Hey, get dunked on, how are you? And look at that. Nice sweet time save on Tret. Alrighty. Now this run's really getting going. So, we saved a chunk of time, we're back ahead of the goal splits, and now we just have to keep it up. So, even though we're ahead, we really can't take it for granted, because this is a category which loves to throw crap at you. So, yeah, it was a really nice blitz to take. Hey, Zerai. And Eyes Roxas, how are you guys? Yeah, the 4-hour run was really tragic. It was an absolute travesty of a run. No one should ever watch that because it's so trash. So we just forget that it exists. hope you're feeling better soon, mate. I'm just gonna assume that's because of the weather is kind of making everybody unwell and other things. So like I mentioned, we set up that avoid before Tret. That's going to allow us to not get any encounters on the way to the bridge. So that's nice. Ah, birthday party, that'd do it. Large congregations of people. Right, you can just retreat out of Tret, no big deal. And even if you run out of PP, you can just go into retreat mode, climb back up, go into Tret, and that'll seem to the entrance anyway. It's not a big problem. You only had 1 centimeter of snow? Well, that's nice. I wish we had snow here, but it's like 40, well, it has been like 37, 40 degrees Celsius, so very, very unpleasant. Alright, that's the last we're ever going to see of a void, because now it's not useful to us. So we'll just drain some PP to get set up for Fusion Falls. Because in Fusion Falls we have to do a little bit of a retreat warp, which is kind of a neat little thing. Usually 1 encounters at the temple. The ooze is the best fight you can get. Everything else requires either 2 summons or more synergy, so yeah, the oozes are very much the best thing you can get, yeah. So Fusion Temple's not so bad. For some reason I can't do this. Just cannot hit the buttons. Always using Whirlwind on this guy. So yeah, you can get an encounter on the way to Zephyr. It's unlikely, but it's possible. I have had it happen to me before. Other than that, we just have to get to Zephyr and hope Zephyr doesn't kill someone, because it is possible for him to kill someone if he uses, I think it's Storm Ray. Storm Ray on the wrong person can kill them. Because, you know, it's the story of this game. Anything and everything can kill you if it wants to. Like, especially if you get caught by surprise by Zephyr, then that's probably not going to end well for you. But that's okay. Yep, right before the door. So this fight sucks, you have to double synergy. Well, and Ramses, obviously. So that's a little bit awkward, because now I have to recover 1 set of Jin. Yeah, well that just happened on Breeze. We were caught by surprise when we initiated a battle with him. It's kind of dumb. So just setting up the retreat warp. What I should have done there is I should have double tapped Fever, sorry. That would have put me on 5 PP and meant so I could retreat after this, but I'm bad, so I didn't. So attack, we'll take that any day of the week. Attack is fast and can't kill anyone, so perfect. Like I said, this guy can be a little bit dangerous. If he decides to use Storm Ray, then bad things can happen. But small problem, now I don't have enough PP to retreat. Super annoying, but you can just do this. This happened to me once before, so I just worked out that you can just retreat through this door and get taken to the entrance. It's faster than running around like a maniac trying to recover. I think it would have been 2 PP at that point. Alright, so Mobile Forest, we now have Procna. 3 Jupiter Gin. 3 Jupiter Gin are ridiculously good, by the way. Maybe if Gin takes you by surprise because your party tried to pet it or something. Yeah, okay, that's canon for me now. Yeah, you go up to it and you go, hey little guy, can I pet you? And then he just gets angry and drops a spire on your head or something. So what we're doing here is we're standbying Forge on Mia. That's going to put Mia into an agility class. Give Mia enough agility to outspeed everything here. So in the event that I need to use Procna and Synergy, I can do Procna with Mia and Synergy with Ivan, if I remember to do it in the correct order, that is. So that's just explaining why we do that. I've got a Bramble Seed, and the Bramble Seed is like really, really good. It's the strongest of the synergy items, but because you don't assume you're going to get any synergy item drops during the run, it's very difficult to know how to route this in. When I saw that, I made the decision very quickly to use it on Killer 8, because everywhere else, it just seemed more trickier to fit it in anywhere else, so try to get the use of it there. So Quartz you can kill in a couple ways. You can do Procna attack, Kirin attack. That will kill, but if you miss your attack, that's an extra action and Quartz can run. So the alternative, which is a little bit slower by 1 second, is to do Procna, Kirin, Nerade, and that'll also kill. So it's just depending on how risky you want to play it. You can either save a second or eat the time loss. So we're also going to make our way to the Elven shirt, because the Elven shirt is broken. And you might think we're going to stick it on Ivan, because Ivan is already pretty speedy. But actually we're going to put it on Mia. Again, that's just going to help her agility in a bunch of these fights, make her useful when she will otherwise not be able to be useful. What's the Mogul Forest meaning in Irish? I do not know that. This fight actually sucks. The Procna won't kill either of them not targeted, so you have to throw in a prism. Eye-opening forest. Oh yeah, I get that. This isn't anywhere close to Real World Island, but yeah, that's fine. Well, it'd be better if it was next to Llama Temple, but yeah, I mean, it's still fine. Elven shirt, perfect. That's gonna go to Mia. And like I said, I'm gonna give the Bramble Seed to Isaac so we can use it against Killer Ape. Also, now that I have the Elven shirt, I don't need to stand by Jin on Mia to have her outspeed stuff. So that's just another one of the added benefits of getting the Elven shirt. But as this fight shows, you probably should still be standbying a Jin there, because that way she gets access to Prism, and Prism is a lot faster than Tundra. I also got a Sleep Bomb drop there. That's actually useful, that saves time. I would normally pick up a Sleep Bomb in Calais, but if you get one as a drop, you take that instead, and that's really useful against Kraken. So this is the correct way to do this fight. Use Prism, then Procna. That stops you getting the summon animation. If you do Procna, then... if you do Prism first, then... Prism second, then you get the Procna summon animation. Hey Sangwa, how are you doing? Alright, like everything in this run, Killer Ape can kill you. Ransack on Ivan will just kill you instantly. So you don't want to see that. So Zephyr, we put that up so to ensure that we can outspeed Killer Ape on the final turn. And we get Debilitate, which is fine. Well, it would have been fine if I didn't make a mistake on this turn. I should have used Granite with Garrett on this turn, because now Killer Ape has another opportunity to kill someone. So if he ransacks anybody, especially if people have been debilitated, they'll die. So yeah, don't make mistakes. If I just used Ramses and then Kieran on the next turn, it would have been fine. So Ransack, Isaac, barely living, barely living. If it was on Ivan, that's GG. So yeah, now I'm going to weave in that Bramble Seed for extra damage. Normally I would have used Granite and would have summoned Venus. That would have done enough damage to kill, but the Bramble Seed is just as good. In fact, probably stronger, so whatever. Anyway, that's the Killer Ape. Another huge time save there. Really great mobile forest, not a lot of bad encounters at all, so yeah. Very solid, very solid. Right, Shan. We run against this wall here. That stops us moving back after we talk to the girl. Normally she'll push you away after you talk to her, but if you're standing against the wall, she can't push you away, so just speeds up this little tiny bit. Do Frost from the side because I'm always worried that Frost from the door is gonna miss. Not that it matters as much in this category because RNG isn't under your control anyway, so just take it. But anyway, I'm just happy to do it from left now. So we did a little bit of party movement there. We swapped Isaac to position 1 to get missed and then back. I think it's marginally faster than just swapping the Jin over. Because while that girl is walking to you, you can just menu freely and it doesn't affect anything. So apes are the worst thing you can see here. Apes require 2 tier 3 summons. Now ideally you want to use Procna Tiamat, but we don't have Tiamat just yet, so we have to use Procna Neptune, and Neptune's really slow. But it's still faster than Cybele. That's also awkward because now I have to recover 2 sets of Jin prior to Corona, which is just ahead after this bridge. Yeah, Xian just kind of exists. Part of the Silk Road or something. The fastest way to do this fight is Procna with Ivan and Neptune with Mia, but there are certain ways that Corona can kill Ivan in that way, if you do that strategy. So if you just do this strat where you attack with Isaac, you get the kill and it doesn't risk Ivan dying. Again, one of those safety versus speed trade-offs that you basically make throughout the whole game. Anyway, we're at a point now where we have Tiamat as well as Procna. Now Procna was generally what we want to use on everything, but Tiamat's a close second. Not nearly as fast, but like significantly faster than the other two tier 3 summons. So if we run into any more apes, we ideally want to use Procna Tiamat. But yeah, always depends on whether we get an ape or not. Okay, so we get a big fight here, so again, we're going to use Procna Tiamat because that's the sensible thing to do. And that'll just clear everything out because they're really good. All these 4 encounter mobs are really awkward to deal with because just the way that AoE synergy works, it can be difficult to get the enemies on the end of the mob, or if you target them then it might be difficult to get the ones on the center or anything like that. That's a pretty crazy theory there, kid. Don't. Not much to say about the living statue. The living statue is pretty much the same in every category. We use Fever with Isaac. That just saves us having to use Cybele, so... I should say that I think this split is one that can be deleted. Like, because basically I split after I beat this living statue, which really isn't that much gameplay, but whatever. Yeah, the living statue really does like to jump around. It's really slow, and it's entirely why you can actually do the infinite climb glitch there and save time, which is kind of silly when you think about it. Because that glitch takes like 16 seconds after the reset. So don't bother doing the tutorial and just retreat out. Because it's faster, obviously. Alright, I'm gonna kill one more statue. So the only other thing that's important right now is I have to keep in mind what Isaac's PP is. I have to do a retreat warp very soon. So ideally, we pick up some damage on the living statue, and we can use that to drain the PP to do the retreat warp in a little bit. But that's only if he plays ball. I mean, he can always do something silly like attack miss, like he did in the first living statue did. Yeah, Prochna is really good. Prochna is insanely good. Like, summons are definitely massively overpowered in this game. Way less so in TLA, because the game's paced way better, but in this game... The same deal as before, Prochna, Fever, Tiamat. Tiamat if I can select it, and Ramses. Again, all just to skip the Cybele, because Cybele was slow as shit. Yeah, no one really knows if the Hydros statue is named after King Hydros. It's plausible. Or maybe they just ran out of names. Shout out to that rat for not dying. Okay. This is where Tiamat comes in. Should target Tiamat on the 8, but I'm bad. Yeah, Golden Sun on the Switch would be nice. Pretty lucky that Nia survives that. that's all my fault because if you target Tiamat there, it dies, but yeah, just played poorly. So as I mentioned, I'm trying to keep damage on people so that when I come into this next room here, I can get Isaac's PP to where it needs to be for the retreat warp. Obviously giving Dousing Frost to Isaac, because he's the one that's going to be needing to drop PP, so we'll do that. Set up for this retreat warp. And there we go. Alright, so we lost a little bit of time to goal, but I mean, we're saving time on my PBs, so we'll take that. And there we go. So, now we got a big long cutscene, so if you have questions, great time to ask them. One thing that's kind of interesting about this category is that, like, when you first leave Vale, you're at a real power trough, like, you don't have much tools at your disposal to do anything. But then once you go around and just, like, after you beat Saturos, like, everything else is a joke, right? But then you get access to Procna very shortly after Tret, and then once you get Procna, like, the rest of the game is just, like, pretty straightforward, right? Favorite kind of pizza? Good question. I am partial to Hawaiian. Hawaiian's a staple. But there's some pretty good barbecue pulled pork ones around here as well. How much time did it take you to excel at this game? Well, I've been doing speedruns at Golden Sun for like 6 years now, so 6 years, I guess? I think someone coming into the game now will be able to pick it up in like a month or two. It's not that hard. Especially since like all of the groundwork has already been laid for someone. Like it's a lot trickier cutting out the path in the jungle than being the person who follows behind, if that makes any sense. Not that it's any discredit to people who are following on afterwards, it's just they have the benefit of years of work that's been put onto the game and ways to go fast and all that jazz. Like, for instance, FX is reasonably new to the community. I mean, he's been around for a while now, but I mean, he got up to speed in Mealess in like a couple months. Yeah, I have world records in every category in both this game and TLA. That is any percent, all Jin, or all Jin and summons in TLA. And the No Save Quit categories as well. Where's the Mealess world record? Never. It's a dumb category. I mean, I don't want to run Mealess because A, I don't like it, and B, if I run it, then there'll be console times for Mealess, and then FX won't be able to ever take the world record back, and that's kind of sad. He deserves to keep his Mealess meme percent record. Yeah, no experience. That's something that's happening on Reddit right now. There was one a while ago. No experience. I remember seeing the no experience Doom Dragon. It's just what you expect. Flash, Granite, ground, abuse. So grab that Water of Life. The Water of Life is going to be really useful in the back half of this game. So we pick them up along the way if it's close by. I really like Dark Dawn as a speedrun. I think it's a really fantastic game. I would do runs of it if I had console, but I don't. Oh, streamable console, I should say. And I don't know if I'm willing to drop like $500 to stream it. Not that I can't afford it, but like, I don't know if it's the wisest investment. Legrand has taken it up and done a run of it, so that's quite nice. Pick up the Vulcan Axe. Vulcan Axe is right here. Vulcan Axe is a really useful weapon, like definitely not essential, but it does make the Kraken a hell of a lot safer. So the way that I've routed this game, I definitely need the Vulcan Axe, but you can route around it if you really wanted to. I don't know why you would want to, but hey, it's a choice. Yeah, I am paid by Steve. You're not wrong. Yeah, I get the sentiment. I mean, that's one of the reasons we still allow emulator on leaderboards, just so people can do runs. I don't think there'll be a new Golden Sun game. I think the ship has sailed, unfortunately. As much as I wish it weren't true. These fights are being done wrong, by the way. I should be using Plasma with Ivan and then Prochna with Mia, but whatever. Alright, you're about to see something that I didn't know was a thing. And it kind of annoys me because this was a really good Llamakan segment, and it kind of ruined it. So I'm going to do this glitch here. So it's a well-known glitch. Basically, you go into retreat mode, go reveal, retreat, get out of reveal, then reveal again, and you're supposed to be zapped to 0-0, but for some reason, I'm not zapped to 0-0. Yeah, sub 4 is exactly a milestone. I really want to get sub 4 on this category. It's the last game that is above 4 hours. Well, last category in this game that's above 4 hours, so I really wanted to make that happen. And so yeah, I didn't get zapped up to 0-0, like, what's up with that? I don't get it. Maybe you have to be embedded in the wall? I don't know, I don't get it. And there we go, we got zapped up now, but like... yeah, bizarre, honestly. Probably would have been faster just to run straight to the Manticore. Is Golden Sun 2% sub-4able? Yes, in a word. I mean, you can just take an old Jin file and make it Golden Sun 2%. Alright, anyway, Manticore. Scripted fight in the sense that always does the same actions. Oh, it does the same actions in order. So, as long as we play accordingly, it's not so bad. Now, Manticore can kill you. A Poison Tail on Ivan on turn 1 will kill him. Or will get very close to killing him, especially if he gets poisoned. So as long as that doesn't happen, we're all good. What you don't want to see is Impair used, because the Impair ones mean that there's some bad AoE coming. Otherwise, the fight's pretty safe. And Impair. So, Impair doesn't mean it's slower, it just means there's a much bigger chance that you'll die. So it means that we have to use Granite now to protect against the Nova turn. My notes say to heal with Isaac, and I don't have anything to heal with, so I guess you just use that potion or something. I don't know. Anyway, so Manticore's going to use a Nova on this turn. Nova hurts, so that's why we have Granite up. Never mind. I thought he used Nova on that turn. Does he use it on the next turn? Maybe, I don't know. Poison Tail's worth shielding though. Poison Tail is nasty. Poison Tail and attack. We don't have a lot of armor, so anything physical it hurts a lot. Anything synergy based is something we can actually manage. Oh, here's the Nova. God damn it. So if he had target Ivan, that's it, RIP. I guess not RIP, but it would have been bad. Alright, Manticore's down. So that would have been like a gold split Lamachan, if not for that stupid glitch not working properly. So today I learned you can't do that. Alright, so now we're gonna get Vine. Vine's a gen that doesn't like to appear, so if you get Vine first try here, that's fantastic. Otherwise, if you don't see him, he's probably going to take like 10 years to show up. First try Vine, so that's good. Yeah, so I mean, while it's not a gold split, you know, we take that, we consolidate the lead. 2 minutes ahead. You know, that's a lot. That's good buffer time coming into the back half of the game. Unfortunately, we're coming into Kraken. If you know anything about this category, the Kraken is the most scary and dangerous enemy in the whole run. Like, if you were to draw up a list of things that are run enders, number 1 is the Kraken. And I don't think anyone will argue that. Number 2 is a little bit debatable. I think it's Saturos and Menardi. Akano thinks it's Fusion Dragon. But yeah. Kraken is definitely the most dangerous. The reason being, everything he does hurts. Poison beat, spinning beat, deal massive single target damage. He's got drench and crap. He's just unpleasant. What else does he have? Dark Blessing, not so bad. Dark Blessing's nice, all things considered. It's got Ply. Ply is just gonna slow the fight down. Like, yeah, there's not a lot to like about the Kraken. Innovation that I had, like literally during this run, buy the Water of Life back. Like, there's no reason not to do that, right? Like, literally as I ran past her, because Calais, we're going to do our shop here. And we need all the Water of Lives we can get, because the back half of this game is brutal. So why not just spend 3k, buy it back? No big deal. Anyway, so we used to do the big shop in Lalavera. We used to get things like steel armor for Garrett and a mirror shield for Isaac and stuff, but none of it really matters. So instead we're going to do the big shop in Calais. We're going to pick up some better headwear for, some better helmets for Isaac and Garrett. And a bunch of armor for Ivan and Mia. And the only reason we're doing that is that it helps them survive the Kraken. In particular, if Mia gets double targeted by Spinning Beat on the first turn, then she'll tank it with this armor in place. So. Yeah, otherwise we're buying all this armor to be prepared for Saturos and Menardi. So it's just a really convenient time to both prepare for Saturos and Menardi, because the equipment here is actually still pretty good, and also add a little bit of safety to Kraken. Not much, but enough to make it worthwhile. Now we have the worst cutscene in the game. So if there are questions, great time to ask them, because this cutscene sucks. Yeah, this cutscene takes like 3 minutes or something. Or 2.5 minutes or something ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, our plan for the Kraken is basically pray for the sleep. Kraken has a weakness to sleep and is weak to Mars, so we basically throw all our sleeping abilities and stunning abilities at it in hopes that it gets slept or stunned. There's about an 80% chance or 86% chance that he'll get put to sleep or stunned, and we can win the fight off that. I had to do a bit of a reroute to make it so that if you get the sleep on turn 1, you can actually kill the Kraken before it can act. But it's not so bad. How should I start if I want to try speedrunning this game? First of all, you need to pick a category. This category is actually really straightforward in terms of like barrier to entry. Like, you're just playing the game. Like, you don't have to worry about RNG manipulation or any being precise or how the RNG advances, so it's really quite accessible. I think TLA No Save Quit is the best category of the series, hands down. It is such a good category. This one's not so bad. I'm enjoying it more now that I've done a bit more attempts of it. The other thing you should do, other than pick a category, is come by the speedrunning Discord. The link's on speedrun.com. Come by, say hi, chat with us. We're a bit crazy. Get dunked on is also right. Make sure you're familiar with the game. Speedrunning anything takes a lot of time commitment and dedication, so if you enjoy the series, I mean, that's a good start. But you have to get used to finishing it many times. We have a very healthy obsession with pineapples and pineapple pizza. So I'm about to do a trick actually called the instant ladder climb. It almost always loses time, but it's swaggy, so swag strats. Hey Elf, what's up man? Been a while. How you doing? So instant ladder climb is frame perfect, and I'm not going to use it to climb, I'm going to use it to fall. Yeah, swag points. And like I said, that probably lost time. That trick is really hard to do. So much easier when you can task the game. And actually, if you do that trick on the mast and hold it down, you can actually just miss the loading zone completely and just walk around the screen as much as you feel like. So we had a bit of a wander there in hopes that we could skip the boat. Unfortunately, there's no boat skip, which is quite devastating to all of us, because we'd love to skip the boat. It would have been doable in this category as well. Anyway, but in Save and Quit category, you can use it to access the character stats and stuff. So by that I mean you can actually end up walking on your statistics. And the game is reading your inventory and your stats as tile data. So one day we might be able to work out how to manipulate that, and we might be able to use that as a really easy way to access that. Yeah, quite a few PBs and WRs since this year actually. It's been a good start to the year. So yeah, important thing here is to give the Elven ship to Ivan so he outspeeds all the mobs. We're going to use Judgment, Meteor, then Judgment again. All the other categories use Thor, Meteor, Judgment. And that's because they can't take advantage of the Jin setup that we have. We have the Jin setup which recovers all of the Jin after a summon in one turn. So that means we can actually do 2 rounds of Judgment, and doing that saves about a second or 2. I think it's 2 seconds actually, depending on how fast you do the menu. Good to hear that you've already played it, Rubric, but yeah. I don't know, what category you have thoughts towards? Like, I've seen a lot of people wanting to do the all Gen route lately, and before that there was a lot of people that wanted to do No Save Quit. We had Casino Coin do it. We had Mr. J Giggles come in. He got the world record off me. And then we had High Spirits come in. He got the world record off Mr. J Giggles. And I've started doing some more runs of this category because why not? And yeah, Boat is a particularly good segment to talk about crap, so it's a great time to just ask questions and generally just hang out, have a good time. Don't have to be about the speedrun. Someone asked about pizza preference before, so... There really isn't a lot happening. How tall am I? I don't know. I'm short-ish. I'm taller than my wife, so that's a win. But I am not all that tall. I'm like 170 centimeters plus minus something. And I have no idea what that is in feet, but it's not 6 foot, I know that much. It's well below that. It's like 5'7", 5'8", I don't know. Something like that, yeah. My brother's actually way taller than me. He's like, he's 2 years younger than me. He's probably like a good couple inches taller than me. He's probably 6 foot actually, like just. And here I am, much shorter than him. How come he got the good genes? I don't know. I did get hit with a genetic disease, so he really did win the genetic lottery as far as my family is concerned. Oh well. He doesn't have golden sun rivers. What other games do I play? I mean, I enjoy RPGs a lot, obviously. I'm currently playing through Fairy Fencer F, because that was that came out on Switch like a couple weeks ago. It's kind of okay. It's a bit lewd, but it's enjoyable enough. Octopath Traveler was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot as well. I thought it had some shortcomings, like the plot was a little bit convoluted. It kind of only... Yeah, Fairy Fencer came out on Switch like 2 weeks ago. With like all the DLC and shit. And apparently, like, oh no, it wasn't exclusive content. What am I talking about? What else? Yeah, Octopath. I was kind of annoyed by Octopath. Like, I enjoyed the game a lot, but all of the 8 plots were like sufficiently separate that, like, if you didn't keep playing, it was like half the story. Like, you didn't get it. It was only once you do the extremely convoluted post-game quest that everything kind of fell into place. And I was just really disappointed that that wasn't part of the main game. Like, I think Galdera was a ton of fun. I enjoyed that fight a lot. That was a real strap yourselves in for a long grind and work out how to beat the damn thing. It reminded me a lot of Apocrypha from Radiant Historia. So I know Apocrypha was easy. Like some of the fights in Radiant Historia, at least, like the giant spiders and Viola. But yeah, Galdera was good, and the way that all the plots kind of played into Galdera was amazing. I'm just like so sad that like so many people are gonna miss out on that because they won't do the extra stuff to make it happen. Because the way all the plots kind of came together in the end was actually really satisfying. What else have I been playing lately? Not much. Smash, obviously. Alright, see you get dunked on. Alright, Kraken. So as I mentioned, we have an 86% chance of winning this fight. The plan is, we want to use sleep with Ivan as many times as we can until it goes to sleep. So sleep is about 50% chance to work. So we're going to try to do that with Ivan. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use Scorch with Garrett. That's about 30% chance to stun, I think. Maybe a bit less than that. Now if that doesn't work, then the next turn we're going to try Sleep again. And we're going to use a Sleep Bomb with Mia. And that's about 30% chance to work as well. So if you add those all up, it's about 86% chance. There's also the Vulcan Axe, which can trigger on the Kraken. It's about 14% if you just use the Vulcan Axe. 14% to that it will unleash and proc a stun. But we really need any of those to have any chance of winning the fight, so that's the plan. There's a bit of a reroute from the route that High Spirits was using. I did it last run, last world record that I streamed anyway. If you put the Elven shirt on Garrett in this fight, it means that after on the third turn, if you sleep him first turn and he wakes up on the third turn, then Garrett will outspeed the Kraken without him getting an action. That's really important for getting everybody through the fight without people dying. So just had to do a tiny bit of a reroute to make that work, and to obviously get in the to get an extra sleep with Ivan in as well. Alright, so sleep number 1, 50% chance to work. Let's go. It didn't work. Okay, no big deal. We still have Scorch, which is 30%, and another turn after this to try and get it. Alright, Scorch proc, we win. So the reroute that we did ensures that getting the proc on the first turn means that we can still win the fight. Still finish the fight as quickly as possible. It used to be that if you got the Scorch proc on the first turn, you wouldn't actually have enough damage to kill the Kraken on the third turn, and he'd get 2 actions off, which is obviously not ideal, because the Kraken can kill you in that scenario. So a little bit of a reroute later, and yeah, we have this. And yes, you do actually have to use Tundra with Mia. You can't use Ice despite the fact it has a faster animation. You need every little bit of damage for the strategy to work, which is kind of a shame, but yeah. So that means things like getting the Vulcan Axe is important, making sure you have the Broadsword with Isaac is important, and obviously using Tundra instead of Ice is important. So yeah, we saved a little bit of time there, and that's entirely because of Vine. because Vine can be awfully trolly. I should recover a Jin outside, but I forgot, so I'm bad. So now I have to recover 2 lots inside, so whatever. Alright, and that's the ship. We made it. Kraken went down without too much of a problem. Now we come into Tolby. So Tolby's not so bad. A couple things we need to do. First thing is... No, they don't recover faster outside anyway, but you generate about 7 recovery steps. About 7 out of 16 on the recovery meter just by walking to the door. So you just... If you finish it off, then it's just faster than wasting time inside. So a couple things we got to do. The first thing is we need to in and out on Tolby. We need to do that so we set up our retreat warp, sanctum warp, sorry, or death warp, should I say. Next thing we need to do is we need to get hail, which is a Mercury Gin, and we need to get ground, and obviously we need to rescue Barbie. So that's what we need to do. We're not going to get Squall. Squall is not required, and it's just a time waste. Yeah, the meter resets every time you change transition areas. So sometimes you'll see me in Venus 2, for instance. I like wiggle before I go through a door, just so I can recover a Jin before entering the next area. Because I know if I enter the next area, I'll probably get an encounter before the Jin recovers. So yeah, just quick in and out Tolby. That sets up the sanctum for that point. Yeah, it's also true for PP recovery. It's the same meter. That's to say that PP and Jin recover at the same rate. So I did a mistake, and I didn't realize it until just then. And that's... I didn't put the Elwyn shirt back on Ivan. And that means that this Dirge outspeeds Ivan. No, transitioning area doesn't reset the encounter meter. You have to actually sorry. If you go into a different room in the same dungeon, the encounter counter stays the same. But the PP meter or the Jin recovery meter will actually reset. So it's only when you actually leave the dungeon will the encounter step reset. So, important distinction. Alright, Elven Shirt on Ivan, really important as I mentioned, because that's going to allow Ivan to outspeed everything. Now, I do want to death warp into Tolby, so my plan here is to try and keep as much damage on my party as possible, while not being totally reckless. Yeah, encounter meter only resets on dungeon, on leaving and re-entering a dungeon. So going from world map to Altmiller Cave will reset the encounter step, but going through to a different area within Altmiller will not reset the encounter meter, unfortunately. Really unlucky to get an encounter there, but whatever. So picking up ground. So I put Mia in slot 1 and Ivan in slot 4. I forget why there's a good reason for it. The immediate reason is that ground now goes to Mia, and I'm going to be basically standbying or setting ground through the whole Ultimate Cave. And the reason I'm going to do that is because if I get a double Dreadhound encounter, I can't kill them both with Ivan. I can only kill one of them, so I can ground the other one that's not going to die, and then kill that with Isaac or Garrett. So Dreadhounds are pretty scary, so we just We play it safe. So I'm getting a lot of encounters, but they're all fast encounters, which is quite nice. Yeah, so I just said that anyway. I'm trying to keep damage on people so I can actually do that. Death warping is generally pretty slow, but if you can keep damage on people, then it can actually turn out being pretty fast. Can extra XP from the encounters be relevant in any fights later? No. Experience is totally irrelevant. The way that experience grows exponentially means that we pretty much always end up at the same level at the end of the game, regardless of what we end up fighting. I see, anyway. Nice. Alright, so this mob is really annoying. So I should judgment the golem here. So, why is this mob annoying? The golem really resists judgment, but the clay gargoyle is weak to judgment. The golem will only die to Thor targeted. But I think it dies to judgment Prothena as well. I was just really concerned about the clay gargoyle, because the clay gargoyle is fast and can hit hard, and of course I'm kind of like beat up right now, so I wanted to make sure it died. But I should have targeted the golem with it instead of the gargoyle. Oh well. What are you gonna do? So yeah, ideally you're just basically having to use judgment to kill these encounters. You don't want to see golems. As I mentioned, they tank a Thor to the face. These guys are annoying. You have to use Meteor to kill the dirges because they resist judgment, and they have enough HP to survive it. So you have to use Meteor to kill them. Armored rats are annoying, obviously. They do not. If they defend, they do not die. It's really annoying. They can really waste a lot of time. So it's worth pointing out that in my previous PB, this 40021, I actually got caught by surprise and had people die. So I ended up doing basically midway through this next room, this room here, through to the end of the dungeon with 3 people, and then I lost someone else along the way. And so then I ended up only doing it with 2 people. And that's really awkward, and not just because you have less people, but also because if you're dead, your gen don't recover. Yeah, it's pre-recorded because I was actually doing this yesterday, but Twitch did not want to let me stream. I was dropping 80% frames, it was actually ridiculous, but I still wanted to play Golden Sun, so I just did a run. It's a bit of a shame, because I would have liked to have done this one live. But what are you gonna do? If Twitch says no, you can't do much about that. Goddamn rats, man. So yeah, anyway, my PB had this stupid everybody die problem, so yeah. Not much you can do about that. I guess the only good thing about that and for the PB was fast death warp to Tolby. So the Dreadhound. So one Dreadhound isn't so bad, you just gotta slap it in the face with the Boreas. The Boreas will kill. In fun fact, it's only Boreas that kills, so much like the Golem, you have to use a specific summon. The encounter step counter, are you guaranteed gen recovery between encounters? No, you're not guaranteed it. But you're very likely to get it. Especially when you get into Venus 2, you need to recover 2 gen between encounters, and that gets even a little bit more dicey. But you're still, on average, likely to get it most of the time. But even in Alt Miller, you're not guaranteed to get a gen recovery between fights. You're very, 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 very likely to, but not guaranteed. Now in the Lost Age, that's not the case at all. Gen recovery was nerfed heavily in TLA. Same with PP recovery, it's on average about twice as slow. I say on average because there are rooms with high PP recovery rate, but they're few and far between. It's one of the reasons why summon rushing isn't as viable in TLA. You're just left so much more vulnerable. You don't have Elven Shirt to guarantee outspeeds. Gen recover slower. It's just, yeah, a whole lot more risky. Yeah, high recovery rate areas will give basically guaranteed. I say basically guaranteed because it is possible to get encounter rates that fast as well. So, alright, we made it to Barbie. So now we just have to put up with them chattering away for a while. Good question though, Elf. It's one of the things that makes Golden Sun 1 so abusable. Like the summons are just so good because of that. That and the fact that they're really, really strong. So yeah, not much to say here. We just have to endure another 4 minutes or something of Barbie crying about stuff, so... Great time to ask questions or otherwise kill time. Yeah. Risker is right. The highlight of this cutscene is Ivan realizing what an idiot Garrett is. Yeah. Seconded. Yeah, TLA, like, the strategy just works with Eclipse and stuff. It's certainly way more lenient in Golden Sun 1, but you're statistically likely to get it in TLA. Even though it's less guaranteed. Yeah, Eclipse is pretty broken. It still amazes me that Eclipse is accessible before even entering the Western Sea, but Horrors is locked until after you get the reunion party back. Bizarre design decision. Like, Horrors is like a good good chunk of change weaker than Eclipse. And arguably with a worse effect as well. Like, Eclipse has resistance drop. Oh, so that's Crystallux, sorry. What does Eclipse have? Is it drop attack? Yeah, I think it's drop attack. Core Razors inflict venom, but like, bosses are immune, so who cares? Yeah, Eclipse does do something other aside from killing shit. Every summon does something other than killing it. Like, Azul inflicts stun, Catastrophe inflicts PP drain, Daedalus has that secondary summon, Iris has the revive, Charon, or Charon, or however you say it, has instant death. Ulysses can make the opponent miss a turn, so kind of like ground. Moloch is agility drop, Flora is inflict sleep, Megara is plus attack, Zagan is drop defense. Yeah, Alpha's right, Charon's instant death is irrelevant except for when Dullahan's using it against you. Yeah, it's the multi-elemental summons. Anything from a summon tablet has an additional effect. Alright, now we need to Death Walk. You can see we're already losing time, so... Alright, anyway. Quick little menu to get ready for Colosso. And we're just going to summon Meteor, which is surprisingly hard to do. But yeah, anyway. We're summoning Meteor because it's going to make us do nothing, but it's also not going to make us attack. Assuming we hit the buttons correctly, which we don't, because I used damn Tiamat, which kills a mole. So I really do need to do the math on one of these. Like, how quick is it to die in like a scenario like this? I'm pretty sure it's still faster, but I don't know. Hard to say. Anyway, we're in Tolby. Colosso is useful in that it gives you a free revive and heal, so we don't have to worry about doing anything at the Sanctum or sleeping in the beds in Tolby's mansion, which you can do, which I only found out like a little while ago. Within the last year, at least. I always thought there was no inn in Tolby, but no, you can just take a nap on the bed, endure a 30-second long cutscene. But yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I did anyway. But I accidentally summoned Tiamat. So I'm wondering if it isn't, if maybe there is if there's a better way to do that. You have to be careful as well, because if you have 3 Mercury Gen, 3 Mars Gen set, or standby, sorry, and you summon Meteor, that will make all of the Mars summons on that page red. So you don't. So that means you can like select Tiamat from that list and still summon it correctly, even though it was red, which is what happened. It's a replay. Because I was going to do it yesterday, but I was actually planning to do this stream yesterday, like streaming this run yesterday as in play it live, but Twitch said no. No, anyway, I had exactly one on standby. And then, yeah, I used Tiamat because I'm dumb. I just set Forge on Mia. Yeah, don't worry, RBD. Anyway, is well aware of dying fast. We have to do a Death Warp in TLA. We do exactly the same thing. Do the Jin setup, weaken ourselves, summon Meteor a bunch. And hey, how you doing, RBD? Hope you're well. Alright, nothing much to say in Colosso. We already put all the Venus Gen on Isaac. The general strategy is slap a Judgment in their face, then Ragnarok them to death. The only thing to say about that is if they start using nuts, then it can be bad. Well, it sucks to hear that things haven't been so well, but I'm glad that this is making things a little bit better. So this first guy, Azat, he's a bit of a walk in the park, but he's also dangerous. So the ideal fight is you do Judgment, you attack, then you Ragnarok. Well, I mean, you get the lure cap if you beat everybody at Colosso, and you get an event in TLA, so it's not all bad. But Azat will attack you. So I mean, what you should do here, actually. So I get scared here. Because basically Azat will kill you in 3 attacks. So Ragnarok will kill here, but I chicken out. I think what you should do is you should do Judgment Oil Drop Ragnarok, because there is a possibility that your attack misses, and the oil drop's not doing much anyway, so I think that's the correct thing to do. I don't know. Anyway, not hugely important in the grand scheme of things. So Saturos is the second fight, pretty much the same thing. Judgment, Ragnarok until he dies. Saturos has a nasty habit of using nuts though, and nuts greatly slow down the fight. Each nut will heal 200 HP, Judgment deals about 400, so 2 nuts will heal off all of Judgment. Ragnarok does about 100, so 1 nut will mean I have to use 2 more Ragnaroks, so yeah. Not much you can do though, he loves healing, so. The only other thing you have to be careful of in this fight is making sure that Isaac outspeeds Saturos, which isn't that hard. You just have to, I'm gonna stand by Ojin then set ground, and ground gives you like +4 agility or something, and it gets you past the 74 agility threshold that Saturos has, and then there's no problem. Right, so like I said, Judgment first up. 330 damage, okay. Not 400, I thought it did closer to 4. The Smoke Bomb first turn's fine. We're not going to attack in this fight, we're just going to use Ragnarok. And possibly the Oil Drop. So as before, Saturos will kill you in 3 attacks. So up this turn we have to heal. And Saturos decides to heal, so that's 2 extra Ragnaroks. And there we go, no problem. Hey Drexa, how you doing? And finally we have Navampa. Now the Vampa's annoying. It actually took me 8 turns to die to Navampa in my PB. So yeah. Navampa can be a dick. Ideally he kills you in 2, but very clearly he can screw you around and waste a bunch of time if he wants to. So I'm going to try another instant ladder climb here. It's going to fail. So, yeah. Much shame. I have brought much dishonor to my family. And don't let anybody like FX tell you that bottom to top instant ladder climb is the same difficulty as top down. Like, there's something about having to do the adjustment to go from the bottom that makes it so much harder to do. So yeah, I'm just gonna struggle against this wall for a while and bask in my shame. But yeah, at some point you have to call it, and so I called it. So this is going to lose a couple seconds to Navampa. Like, I mean, you can see there's quite a lot of window for it. Like, let's see how many seconds I actually end up losing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 seconds. That's not so bad. Yeah, now, well, at least Navampa gave me good RNG. Alright, cool. Colosso down. Any run that's coming out of Colosso and sub 3 is a good run. So at this point, like, you know this run has potential. Like, we had a really slow start, like pretty meh RNG to begin with. But the run's really delivered. Like, starting at Tret, followed up a killer rate, and just grinded out a lead from there. So this is now very, very, very good. Unfortunately, we have a bunch of cutscenes before we get into anything exciting, so before we get into this final stretch, if there's anything that people want to talk about, now's a great time to do that. So in case you didn't know, by the way, if you come into this room and talk to the bed, you can actually initiate an inn. You can crawl into bed and everybody takes a good night rest. I certainly didn't know that when I played this game casually. Super not obvious. There is an excruciating cutscene attached to it, but yeah. Anyway, so Barbie, good fun. I mean, I could just explain what's about to happen in Suhala. What is the meaning of life? It's an excellent question. I don't know, if I was to say what the meaning of life is, I feel like there is no good answer to that question. I think everybody's got their own interpretation of what that means. Hey Rizukun. I think ultimately all you can do for life is just go through life and try to have as few regrets as possible. I mean, that's easier said than done. Like, I know myself. I have regrets of things that I have or have not done in the past, or you know, maybe about where I am at this moment in my life and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you make decisions and you have to be okay with them. If you can do that, I feel like that's pretty much the meaning of life. I mean, obviously part of that for me is going fast in these games, and I know that, like, for instance, the old gen time for like years was hanging over me as like a almost like a mental roadblock of stuff, and you know, it took me a long ass time to get that record back and actually do a good job of it as well, like Subworster. So yeah, whatever. It means nothing to anybody in the world except to myself and maybe a couple of the other people in the Golden Sun community, but like, no, it's the little things, right? I mean, that took literal years of training to get to that point, and that's come at the expense of other things. You know, I haven't, you know, I could have put more work into my career, for instance, or developing a new set of skills or something. I didn't. I spent it playing Golden Sun. Do I regret that? Not for a moment. I think it's really important that whatever you do, you just have to accept that, accept the consequences of the decisions, I guess. Finding the balance, it's really hard. But yeah, anyway. The shit we talk about to get through this excruciating cutscene. And it's still not over, Jesus Christ. Good question, Sarah. We could muse on that for hours. Yeah, I think that's... I don't know, like back in the day, like, back when Golden Sun was developed at least, cutscene skipping was definitely not a thing. like you think about the contemporary games at the time, like cutscene skips were not great. Xenoblade had skippable cutscenes at least. Xenoblade was a lot of fun, actually. Anyway, alright, Suhala. Suhala's not that bad at all. Couple things coming into this segment. We really want to do a retreat warp after Dew, not because it saves a lot of time, but because it lends itself to having better encounter management in the back half, in Barbie Ruins, Barbie Lighthouse and stuff. So if we can set up the retreat warp for Dew, it saves time there, and it gives us better encounters later, so we need to set up for that. Yeah, this speedrun is roughly half cutscenes. I think Pokemon Sun and Moon is just as bad. Anyway, so we need to get damage on us so we can use Cure Well to drain PP. So the basic plan here is to just Judgment Tiamat these guys. Hopefully they use Wing Slash or Wind Slash or something, or Wing Flutter, sorry. And just hope we tank a lot of damage. We could use Ground to avoid taking damage, but because I'm going for the retreat warp, it makes more sense to play it like this. So Wind Slash, but Wind Slash on 2 isn't so great. But you know, that's 14 PP, that's fine. There's 3 Tornado Lizards, so hopefully they all do something like that, right? The worst thing they can do is Impact, because Impact doesn't do any damage, so... Yeah. So yeah, we're at a point of the game where we have to start being a little bit more picky about the tier 4 summons that we're using. Can't just Judgment everything. I'm pretty sure that a lot of these guys will die to Judgment, but I haven't mapped it out to a point where I'm comfortable with making that decision during a run. So I just kind of go with what I know is they're weak, what I know they are weak to. So Impact's not great. Don't want to see Impacts. So now there's only 1 Tornado Lizard. So another way we can drain PP, we can actually do the same kind of thing on Flash. Because if Flash runs away, we can just quickly reset the room via the tunnel right next door. And I'm pretty sure nothing Flash can do can kill you, so... at this point, unless this is Wind Slash 4, I probably have to play for Flash damage. Which kinda sucks, but what are you gonna do? Wind Slash, but Wind Slash 2, so that's another 14 PP, which is nice, but not quite enough to get me to, not quite enough. You really wanted to get Wind Slash 3 or Wind Slash 4. So actually, I did a run once in this category. It got up to this point. It was okay. It wasn't as fast as this one. And I just completely forgot to get Flash. I got onto the sand where it triggered the Storm Lizard to come after you, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot Flash. I guess that's RIP run, man. Classic No Save and Quit. So yeah, as I mentioned, the right play here is playing for damage on Flash. It also allows you to do Boreas Procna, which kills if it's done by Ivan and Mia. It won't kill if it's done by anybody else. Otherwise, you do Boreas Judgment, I think, to kill. Yeah, it wasn't because I was trying to skip the gin, it was because I was in an all gin mindset, where you get all gin on the way back. Like, you get it on the way back into Suhala, because you've got to go back to get across Crossbow Isle. But yeah, I just totally forgot about it. So yeah, at this point, there's not really any other way we can take damage unless there's a really bad encounter and I screw up. That's not a bad encounter which I can screw up on, that's just a T4 with a face. So I'm probably just have to commit to using Frost a bunch of times against Dew, which is unfortunate, but it's better than trying to go into Dew, use Flash, and Dew runs away, because then that's a really big time loss. So good RNG is being able to get the Suhala Gate off of, without this encounter, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Yep, Ivan needs the Elven ship to outspeed all of his encounters. That's not true. He doesn't need it to outspeed all of them, but to guarantee the outspeed on whatever I get, he needs it. There are some mobs that are sufficiently slow that he will still outspeed. The Sirens in this area, for instance, or the Nightmare, I guess you'd call them, they're sufficiently slow that even Isaac will outspeed them. I mean, ideally, like, the Tornado Lizards, sorry, are usually damaging enough so that this doesn't become an issue. And if it does become an issue, then Flash is your backup. But Flash used attack, so I really had an opportunity to cure 5 people, which is well below what you normally get. So that's a bit of bad luck there. So like I said, we're going to use Ground on him because we definitely don't want you to run away. Hey Reishang, how are you, man? Haven't seen you in ages. How you doing? Do you need to outspeed everything with Flash? No, you don't, but there's no guarantee that they're going to damage you, and if you're committing to like Flash and slow death, then, you know, you might as well just use Frost at that point. I hate to disappoint you, Reishang, but this isn't a world record attempt, so RIP. The attempt was yesterday, so this is a world record, but we'll get to that. So Venus Lighthouse, nothing exciting here, we're just going to use Reveal a bunch of times. So fun fact, in my 421 PB, I actually used Retreat immediately before triggering the Path in Venus 1, like an idiot. Yeah, it's still insaning. You know. That's pretty cool actually. Like I'm enjoying this category a lot more than I thought I would. I don't think it's as good as some of the other manipulation categories, but it's way easier to play. Like, you don't have to think as much. So the way I use Reveal here means I can usually avoid having to use Reveal in this room, so it's just nice. And hey, look at that, first turn blue, and a massive gold. This run is confirmed spliced. No. That's just a little joke we have in the Golden Sun community, because no one ever gets a blue path, so anytime you get a blue path, first try, the run has to be spliced, because there's no other explanation for it. So as I mentioned, like way back ago in Calais, most of the shopping is done in Calais now. All I want to pick up here is the Mysterious Robe. Is it Mysterious Robe? No, Magical Cossack, sorry. for Mia, because that's going to allow her to do effectively 7 PP wishes. And because I'm basically getting down to wish once every 2 turns, that's actually a 5 PP wish. So that's really, really good value, so she's never going to run out of PP. I'm also going to pick up the Spirit Armlet, and the Spirit Armlet gives a bunch of defense, which isn't important, but it gives plus 10 Venus power and plus 10 Mercury power, and that's just going to make Mia's Boreas' sting a little bit more and help her wish out if she gets broken. Yeah, like, we're pretty much at the last dungeon. Like, we got here, like, really fast. Like, as soon as Colossus over, you're basically into Endgame, which is really nice. So yeah, a bit short on money. It's probably just RNG. Because I got a lot of really cheap encounters, so, yeah. It's not hard to get to 9k if you just sell stuff. I mean, the heavy armlet sells for 1500, and I forgot that as well. Anyway. Elven Shirt's pretty useful when you get to the reunion, anyway. It gives you that outspeed on the Phoenixes and stuff in Magma Rock, so yeah, it definitely still has a lot of value. Sell a Turtle Boots? No, fuck you. Turtle Boots are the MVP, man. So that's one of the reasons why the G Retreat Warp is quite good. You can do the Retreat Warp here. It just saves walking across the screen, which doesn't save that much real time in terms of traversing that distance, but you actually generate encounter step as you walk across to the interior Barbie Lighthouse. So it's just better to take the Retreat Warp and guarantee only getting 1 encounter in Barbie Lighthouse, and that means you're pretty much guaranteed 1 in Tunnel Ruins and the 5 to 7-ish in Venus 2, depending on how bad your luck is. Yeah, Elven Shirt is times 1.5, and Wild Coat is plus 40 agility. So Wild Coat's pretty good, like very, very good, don't get me wrong, but Elven Shirt is still way better. I think if you're doing a manipulation, then yeah, you can just get a Wild Coat and it'll be fine. Like, either speedy item is fine, so it doesn't make too much difference. But Elven Shirt is really, really amazing. So yeah, we'll re-explain the Turtle Boots once we get to Saturos and Menardi Fusion Dragon as well. I think it's really, really cool that they're actually useful in a category. We have memed about them for a long time, so I'm glad we're finally able to find a use for them. Yeah, I mean, you could use it in a combined GS1, GS2 playthrough, but yeah, I mean, you'd have to do a gold password for that, and to be honest, not worth it. Just do the bronze and take advantage of the bronze password glitch, so that Isaac's party can basically come in at level 28 despite only being level 15. That is to say, they get 28 levels worth of stats despite being only level 18, I think. Probably 19, yeah, 19 after Deadbed. So yeah, like, I'm really surprised that there's so much time to save in Venus 1. So, it's pretty cool that there's like another minute or something to save. Oh, there was a minute to save on that split. How safe, unsafe are the Venus 2 encounters in this run? Not safe at all. This is the scariest part of the run for sure. Caught by surprise is often just death. So, we really don't want to see that. Every fight we need to use a protective gin, be that flash or ground. Because nothing dies, I think only a handful of enemies die to a tier 4. And most of them require 2 tier 4s. Then you have things like a bunch of stuff has the Haunt status condition, which is obviously not something you want going into Fusion Dragon, because there's no way to get rid of it except visiting a Sanctum, because we don't have Tonic. Then the Thunder Lizards have a stun ability. What else is there? Boulder Beast caught by surprise is just game over. Because the Boulder Beasts will just dynamite and kill everyone. Like, you can get the Golem 4 Boulder Beast party and have them just dynamite everybody and die, so yeah. Very, very, very nervous part of the run, given that any encounter can just kill you. But provided you don't get caught by surprise and you don't play risky, Venus 2 is pretty safe. Can be time consuming, but safe. Alright, we'll just do this puzzle. Get that sweet 1-second time save over all Jin, because we can use move in this category. Whereas all Jin doesn't use move, so it can do RNG in it. This is actually a really cool puzzle. Having to like mind read and work out the positioning of the statues. It's pretty straightforward once you know the solution, but yeah, you know, it's it's very interesting that you can actually do this. Like, getting mind read involved like that, quite clever. Forget where Tonic is. Tonic is in Lumpa Fortress. You have to beat Dompa and then get it off Dompa. Alright, so this is a shitty encounter. Those heads can haunt you. That's pretty much the only concern that I have here. And of course, being a 4-enemy fight, you have to make sure that you're balancing the damage distribution correctly. Ooh. Yeah, okay, so now Isaac has a spirit on him. What does the spirit do? Well, the haunt condition distributes random damage to Isaac whenever the game feels like it. So Fusion Dragon has this ability, Evil Blessing, that does the same thing, so we know we can play around haunt, so it's not a huge deal, but it's definitely annoying. And we would almost prefer that they kill us. Sorry, that the haunt kills us prior to Saturos and Menardi, so that we can heal it off via revive. But yeah, we'll see how we go. But yeah, that's definitely worst possible RNG in Ton of Ruins. Really don't want to see that happen. Pretty much anything else you can play around, but haunt is just... sometimes the game's just going to decide to kill you. So imagine you get into Saturos and Menardi, you have haunt on someone. Haunt procs kills them, Death Seize kills someone. It's just, yeah, nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Most of the time haunt's pretty well behaved though, so here's hoping it is. So this is a bit of a scary mob. Everybody here is really, really tanky, so... recovery doesn't help. Yeah, so that's really unlucky. Well, is all gen no save and quit a thing? Probably. I'm not interested in it, but I'm sure we would add it to the leaderboards. No, Horn can't immobilize, it just deals random amounts of damage, so... Yeah, this fight is not going well, by the way. This fight is really not going well, by the way. Alright, see, I have a decision to make here. You can either play around using a revival gen like Dew to recover that person, or just commit a Water of Life. Now, committing a Water of Life makes Saturos and Menardi a bit less safe, but because I bought the Water of Life in Calais, which is the one that I originally sold at the beginning of the game, it just actually means that Saturos and Menardi is just as safe as it used to be, so I have enough Water of Lives to play, you know, without too much concern for being killed, so yeah. Let's say that committing the Water of Life is definitely the correct play there. Using Gen to recover is too slow, and I'm still pretty much covered in case Saturos and Menardi decide to be mean to me. This is one of those enemies that actually dies to a tier 4, and I just completely spaced on it. I just knew that they were weak to Mars, I didn't know if they died, so... There we go. Alright, very close to the end of the game now. There's exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 runes left before the Aerie. So one more thing we need to do, we have to pick up the Gaia Blade, and I'm actually going to equip it early. The reason being that, oh sorry, Gaia Blade's not for a little bit. Anyway, I will equip the Gaia Blade early, mostly because it's going to give Isaac increased increased Venus power, which is going to make Judgment hurt a little bit more, and that's, you know, in a dungeon like this, a little bit more power never hurts, so... Maximizing the amount of time I run on sand, a little known fact is that the step counter doesn't increase while you're on sand, so you kind of get on sand as early as you can and stay on it as long as you can to minimize step counter. Just one of those little things. Plus, you move faster on sand once you run down. So. Alright, this puzzle takes like a minute to complete. Especially when you do it wrong. How far are you? How are you so far ahead? Good RNG. In a word? Good RNG. I wouldn't seem to say it's like that good. It's above average RNG, for sure. Being able to use Judgment on fights instead of Bore saves time, all that kind of stuff. The record is certainly not free. The big limiter in this is obviously RNG. This is a recording. I did it live. I wanted to stream it yesterday, but like I was trying to stream me playing Golden Sun yesterday, and it was going to be this run. Well, it became this run anyway. But Twitch was not letting me do it. It was like 80% frame drop. I was like, well, RIP, still want to play Golden Sun, so let's just do an offline run. Hey Diggers, how you doing? I'm Drake F. You thought this was live. RIP. I've only said it like 8 times or something, so my bad. I could have said it more. So this will be the last counter in Venus 2. So I think if you look at how bad this Venus 2 was overall, like we had a death, we had a couple slow fights, that, you know, there's a good 30 seconds to a minute to save on this split. So that's kind of good to know. So I'm starting to lose time compared to like my best split time, but I think, you know, there's like a minute to be saved off of that or something with better RNG there, so that's kind of cool. Alright, Saturos and Menardi. Very, very tricky fight. Let's talk through it. There's a lot to discuss. So, first thing, Menardi has an ability called Death Seize, or a Death Scythe in Japanese. Now this ability has between 18 to 25% chance to instantly kill someone. She has a nasty habit of doing Death Seize, and having both of them proc, and people just dying, and that feels bad. So you really need to plan around this fight for that happening. So that's why we're bringing the Turtle Boots along. Turtle Boots are going to put Mia, are on Mia, they're going to make her go last. What is that going to do? It means that she can revive people without fear of Saturos and Menardi targeting them, because Mia will be slower than them. So Saturos and Menardi would have already had their actions. So in particular, someone dies, you use Flash, you're protected, but if you revive the person, they don't get Flash's protection. So they're then vulnerable to attack from Saturos and Menardi, and they can die. So putting the Turtle Boots on Mia just makes it more consistent to revive them. There are lots of other things that can go wrong in this fight. Second thing, other than Death Seize, which is a pain in the ass, is Break. Break can slow down this fight significantly. And then Menardi can cast Resist, which will slow down reduce the amount of damage my summons deal. So that will slow down the fight. And beyond that, Saturos can cast Haunt, which can also be a huge bother. Less of a big deal than the other things, but still annoying. So with all that considered, Menardi is super dangerous, and Saturos not really. He can cast, probably the most inconvenient thing he can do is break you, and maybe Potent Cure. So the general plan is we want to minimize the number of Menardi turns wherever possible. So we're going to go into this fight, and we're going to do basically ground every second turn. Every possibility we can use ground, we're going to use ground on Menardi, and just prevent her from doing anything, in fear of her using Death Seize and killing someone. Meanwhile, we're going to use Mia to basically do our damage. She's going to summon Boreas, she's going to wish people back to full health. She's really the MVP of this fight. So we're going to be cycling through Mercury Gen as fast as we can, while grounding every other turn and just keeping Flash and Granite up on alternating turns. Now, a lot of routing is being done on this fight, like really thanks to Akano. Like I'm gonna give him much more praise later, but like Akano is like one of the big reasons why this fight's gotten so optimized. He's done a lot of work on it, gave me a lot of good ideas that we've been able to incorporate into it. Yeah, he basically showed that Granite, there's pretty good chances to live on a Granite turn without ground, or a ground turn without Granite, so it's made thinking about this fight a little bit easier, plus speeding it up significantly. Like, at the best case scenario, this fight is 8 turns long in this category. So yeah, let's see how we go. If I get affiliate, which I am actively choosing not to opt into, just FYI, would I make Death Season mode? No, it would be Lost Cat. So turn 1, we're using Boreas, getting Flash out of the way, and then we're using Fizz. Really important we do it this way. I forget why, but we could probably just stand by Fizz later and have Ivan do something else, now that I think about it. Oh well, doesn't matter. Anyway, Boreas is the big thing here. So Boreas does 2 things here, so tons of damage, and basically doubles the power of Mia's Wish. So now Wish will always heal me back to full, pretty much regardless. So now we gotta get this ground stuff going. So one of the things that Arc really showed us was that using Krokna during this fight is actually really advantageous. Can really just speed this thing up. So that's why I have 4 Jupiter Gen set. So I'm going to use 3 for Krokna, and then one of them just going to stay on standby for summoning purposes, as in making sure I have a Gen on standby so that the summon menu appears, so I can always make sure to get Flash and Granite reset. So Menardi is really cooperating right now. She is not using Death Seas. She's just whacking me with low level stuff, no concerns whatsoever. This is really good RNG right now. Like, pretty much as good as you could reasonably expect in this fight. So again, using ground on Menardi every possible turn so she can't do anything. So if we don't get broken this turn, well, we just did, we would have killed Menardi on the next turn. So there's one more opportunity for Menardi to use Death Seas, that's this turn. Actually, I lied. Because I got broken, there's now 2 turns that she can be mean. But I mean, that break isn't so bad. Like that keeps Menardi alive for an extra turn, basically. So without the break, she would die here, but with the break, it's going to take 1 more turn to finish her off, and that's where the Krokna comes in. The Krokna deals just enough damage, not targeted on Menardi, to finish her off despite being broken. So that's really, really valuable. And so as long as she doesn't use Death Seas or resist or anything, we're okay. I know I've got ground, so I can prevent all that, but it's slightly more optimal to do it this way, because you get extra damage from Ivan summoning Krokna as opposed to Isaac. Fiery Blast, we're in the clear. Shoutouts to the armor I bought in Calais for Ivan tanking that hit. Menardi's down, this fight is now free. So now you have 2 choices. You can sit there and set up for a long time by cycling Mercury Gen or whatever, or end the fight as fast as possible. And so, the basic plan is to end the fight as fast as possible. So we're going to try and get a Judgment ready, and get as many Mercury Gen ready as we can before then. Notice how I didn't summon Mars this turn. That's because I'm going to use Flash on the next turn, because I'm going to have Judgment prepared, and Judgment will kill Saturos. And by setting Flash with Garrett, I'm going to guarantee that Garrett will have Flash ready for the Fusion Dragon fight. So set Flash, use Ground, and GG, Saturos dies. Basically a perfect fight, other than Menardi getting some extra actions because she didn't die, because Saturos used Break. Huge gold split there. Huge gold split. Okay. Alright. Run is by no means over. Fusion Dragon can be super trolly. What can Fusion Dragon do? The worst thing would be severe blow to 1 HP into something to kill that person. I also have that Haunt on Isaac, which, you know, it could proc and kill Isaac at some point. What else can happen? You can get out of space on a Granite turn, someone that's injured. Like, there's just a lot of ways for Fusion Dragon to eat up time. So all things considered, my PB had a pretty good Fusion Dragon fight. So all things considered, we'll likely lose time. But you know, we're still in a really, really good position. Like, at worst we lose 2 minutes or 3 minutes. That's still a huge PB. Do I have tables for Fusion Dragon? No, I don't have any tables, because Fusion Dragon is not a pattern-based boss. He's just random, so he's a jerk. Whereas for Doom Dragon, the first action is always fixed, so we can play around that. Yeah, Fusion Dragon's not pattern-based. He can do whatever he likes. He's a real jerk. So the worst thing that... The really worst thing to slow down this fight is using... whatchamacallit? Using Break. I played this game after I played TLA, so I wasn't awfully surprised by the Fusion Dragon. Doom Dragon was like, alright, super boss time, or like in-game boss time, let's go. Alright, so it looks really tempting to summon Boreas here, but it's just strategically a little bit better to play it safe, set up Granite, set up Vine, heal up, and then get Boreas off the next turn. Like, it's really important to not rush yourself. Like, the fact that you have stuff ready to go, like, it's okay. But just take a deep breath, it's fine. This is slightly less fine. Okay, this is still fine. Unfortunately, we don't have the ultra-powered Wish because we haven't summoned Boreas yet, but that's fine. We're going to use Boreas this turn, it's going to be fine. Those poisons on Ivan and Garrett, they don't matter. We're going to heal enough to make sure that they're irrelevant. It is possible to route in a Unicorn Ring to help cure the poison, but it's just slower than just healing it off. So you just have to, you know, deal with it. More poison, okay, whatever. Get that Boreas down. Okay, now we've got Wish online, like Ultra Wish online, the double strength Wish, so should be fine as long as Isaac tanks one hit from Fusion Dragon. Actually, he doesn't even need to tank it because we have ground this turn, never mind me. So just gotta... No wait, we don't have ground, shit. Okay, never mind. This is fine. No, we do have ground. What am I talking about? Alright, so we have to tank one hit from Fusion Dragon, which is fine. We can do that. No, we don't have to. No, sorry. Wish works. Never mind. What am I saying? don't want to use Sidebell, but, you know, whatever. Sometimes you have to. Ooh. Okay, that's that haunt coming in through. Okay. That's obviously not good, but this setup is sufficiently flexible that we can deal with this. We have plenty of Water of Lives on Nia, we can put Flash up, and we have enough capacity to use, you know, we're fine. This is fine. That's going to cost time, but it's fine. If everybody dies, or if someone else dies this turn, that's rapidly not fine, but through Flash, you'd have to have Severe Blow into something nasty, so we're okay. Isaac can tank a Dragon Driver to the face. In fact, he can probably tank it out of space, so we're okay. And as I mentioned, we have Double Strength Wish. No problems at all. No problem at all. This is fine. Alright, so the trick to beating Fusion Dragon is summoning Boreas twice. With this setup, you get the first Boreas off, and then after you've done enough Ramses, like you work towards a Boreas, and by the time you got the second Boreas online, you will have done enough incidental damage with Boreas and Mars that the second Boreas should kill, or at least put you in a position where a Ramses after that Boreas will kill. So now that everybody's alive again, we can focus on doubling down, getting the Mercury Gen out, and getting that Boreas online. So we should be able to get a Boreas online after this next Ramses turn. And at that point, we can probably even play it a little bit risky. But we'll see. Yes, yeah, Elf, good point. Pretty good fight so far, no breaks. Ivan's in a little bit of a dicey spot here. 67's not great. Evil Blessing is fine though. We can tank Evil Blessing. Get the Superpower Wish off. Heal everybody to full, basically. This is why the Boreas with Mia is so important in this fight. It just makes everything go so much easier. So then we got Isaac and Ivan coming through with the Mercury Gen. We're losing time because Isaac died. This is fine, don't worry. Dragon Driver, still no breaks. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. No, dying does reset elemental power. But Isaac's never summoned Judgment, so it's just Ramses plus Gaia Blade. Yeah, you only get one power up off of Ramses. Just one. Could have played it risky with Boreas on this turn, but play it safe. Play it safe. Because there could be another turn after that. I'm not counting. Alright, we get broken. That's okay. This is fine. No big deal. Easy. So that's a pretty average Fusion Dragon fight. Like, bad things happened. We played around them. Not so bad. We did it. Generally speaking, once you get past Saturos from Menardi, like, Fusion Dragon's not so scary. Definitely far bigger chance to die on Fusion Dragon. So there we have it. We have a sub 4 80% no save and quit time. And as I mentioned, that massive time save on Saturos from Menardi is pretty much all due to Ark and his research that he's put into that. So shout out to Arcano for that. This wouldn't have been a huge PB without him. And everything else is just dumb luck, so can't do much about that. It's not to say this category can't be improved, obviously. There's obviously mistakes all over the place, and things you can do better. But at this point, I think the run's sufficiently good that you basically need good luck and execution to beat the time now. Up until this point, it's been kind of free with just getting the big time saves on the bosses and stuff. Just everywhere, Rizukun. Just everywhere. Like, this category is all about RNG, and RNG screwing you over. So I was just hoping to get a run where all the boss fights went pretty well. So the worst boss fight was probably the Bandits, which loses maybe like 30 seconds. Colosso wasn't so bad. Like, I got one nut. You can lose more time if they just spam nuts all day. Like, the 421 was way worse, was that? Fusion Dragon was average. Saturos and Menardi was basically perfect. All the other bosses were fine, so this is about as good as, like, I feel like I want to push it. I think sub 350 is possible for sure. I think you could probably get to 345 if you actually sat down and grinded the shit out of it. I think that's like a realistic ultra best case time. Like, that would be the god run. Next category, probably TLA 80%. Probably. Don't quote me on it. I did start putting a little bit of work into that today. Starting to update the script so that it's more useful for routing 80%. So yeah. But yeah, there's a lot more props that need to be given out for this category and this game in general. Like, FX has been great. Very useful. Lots of useful discussion and stuff around the game. Obviously Arcano, I can't say it enough. Who else? Obviously High Spirits for getting me interested in the category again. Mr. Jiggles for beating my crap time before. And hopefully more people pick up this category. It's a fun category. It is a little bit just get hammered by RNG for 4 hours and pray that it all goes your way. But that's what makes the game fun. You can roll with the punches and adapt accordingly. Play some Golden Sun. Yeah. I'll still maintain that this is not nearly as good as TLA No Save Quit. Let's just remind everybody why. This game is all about get to Procna everything, then use Judgment, blow up everything with Judgment as best you can, then finish the game with Summons again. TLA No Save Quit, you can't do that. You have to use every trick in the book to go fast. You're abusing the Soul Blade early. You're abusing putting Shiba in a Mars class early on so she's got extra HP to survive things better. You're going into a phase where you're only summoning Procna because it's fast to do that. Like, you're making every use of every mechanic in the series in the TLA No 7 Quit run, so it's really satisfying to play through. This one you basically is just a Summon Simulator 2000, but it's still fun. It's still fun. And we're getting to that point where the game's almost over. So, if you've ever seen a Golden Sun speedrun before, you'll know that we like to guess the in-game time. So, this run's going to be a 353XX. What do you think the in-game time's going to be? Yeah, definitely watch TLA No 7 Quit. That is freaking incredible. Like, such a good category. 11 out of 10 category. So much fun. 345, 346. Good guesses, good guesses. What? I think FX can make a good guess. He's got that TAS knowledge. 348. Wow. Dying seconds of the run, and it's 3:53:16. This is actually a huge milestone, actually. Back before anything happened in Golden Sun speedrunning, the first category people tried was this category. And Arcano posted a time of about 5 hours and 9 minutes or something. And the first ever all-gen run came in around 5:15ish. And ever since we just went hard on RNG manipulation, all-gen has always been faster than any percent no save and quit. And over 6 years later, actually, any percent no save and quit is now faster than all-gen. And all-gen itself is just broke a milestone by going even faster than we thought we could possibly go. Oh, come on, FX, you can make an informed guess as to what the in-game time is going to be. It doesn't have to be accurate, it's a guess. But yeah, this is pretty incredible. I am like incredibly happy with this time, actually. This is also 20 minutes ahead of the next best time, so that's cool. It's sub all gen, sub 4. Like, honestly, there's not a lot of room for like goals or milestones here. Like they're all crushed. Now, my summer best is 346. That could go to 344 very easily. Getting below 350 is plausible. But you know, the motivation's gone now. I'm very, very happy with this time. Like, it'll sit there and be a pretty good marker for people in the future to kind of aspire towards. So I'm very happy with that. Very, very, very happy. Alright. I know where we're going after this. We'll go host Xarion, because Xarion's honestly one of my favorite speedrunners. Like, there are very few people in the community who demand such perfection of themselves and like you grind the way he grinds. So we'll throw him some love. But yeah, any last guesses for the in-game time? Nobody's guessed it yet, by the way, so you're all wrong. You're welcome to make another guess if you like. .343. Ooh, spicy. I like how we went up and not down. We went faster, not slower. So good thinking. 322. It can't be 322. Happy camper. This game is 4 hours long. 342. God damn. That'd be a good time. All right. Let's get there. Let's save the game and see what the final time is. Here's your validation. No save files. There we go. Bao bets 338. Okay. Let's get past this. We don't need to see this. 347 or something. God, you guys. Alright. Let's see what it is. 341. I'm pretty sure that's the same as all Jin. Or it might be a minute faster, I don't recall exactly. I'm pretty sure it's the same. That's pretty hilarious. Alright guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. This has been fun. There's finally a pretty good no save and quit time. So next up we'll do TLA 80%. Might take a while to get there before it's ready, but you know, we'll do our best. And as you see, no save files or anything. So here we go, host Xarian. You guys will have a good day. And thanks again once again for supporting Golden Sun. Best game. Alright, see you guys. Yep, going back to TLA.